course, Dia de los Muertos, or the Day of the Dead, is right around the corner, and it's a time to honor and celebrate those deceased loved ones that we have. Right now, of course, is the perfect time to take a day trip to Longmont for the biggest Dia de los Muertos celebration in Colorado.
So let's kick it off with you, Anne. Talk to us about the Longmont Museum. What makes it so special?
Well, this is our 20th anniversary celebrating Day of the Dead with the Longmont community. So it's a really big and important celebration for us this year. It's also especially, we feel it's really important this year with the pandemic, with so much death and so much hardship going on in the community. It's really nice to be able to take a moment to remember our loved ones who have passed.
Why don't you begin there? Let's explain the history, the tradition behind Day of the Dead.
Well, Day of the Dead is an ancient celebration dating way back to pre-Columbian Aztec and Mayan celebrations in Mexico and Guatemala. When the Spanish Catholic conquistadors arrived, Catholicism and Aztec culture and traditions kind of came together, and Day of the Dead was born.
Well, it's so beautiful and colorful, and we want to talk about some of the traditions specifically that you're showing off right now, the sugar skulls that we're so familiar with around Dia de los Muertos, and the beautiful colors, the flowers. What's the meaning behind the sugar skull?
Well, the sugar skull actually dates back to that Aztec tradition. So way back when, before they had cameras, they actually would keep the skull of their loved one. And when the Spanish came to Mexico and Catholicism kind of became the dominant religion, that tradition of keeping the human skull transitioned into kind of the art of sugar sculpture. And sugar skulls harken back to that ancient Aztec tradition. But then when they kind of met the Catholic Church, all of the decoration, all the flowers, all of kind of the flourishes that come with the sugar skull became part of that tradition and that aesthetic.
It's beautiful, the symmetry as well. Berenice, let's move over to you now. Let's talk about Longmont specifically. Your celebration is the biggest in the entire state of Colorado. Why is that?
Yeah, we're the biggest in Colorado, and we have a lot of people visiting to us in Longmont. And since, if I'm not mistaken, 20 years ago we started, and it's because, in my opinion, we bring together the culture, the tradition, and as Anne was saying, we have something very special that we put together in Longmont. We create the altars, the ofrenda. We honor the people that have passed away here in Longmont, but also with our families and our loved ones. And we also include the businesses in the community that they put altars in our main street. Mm-hmm. That really attracts many people, and all the promotion that the museum does has contributed to find and attract other visitors, not only in Colorado. There are people coming from Wyoming, people from Utah, and it brings them close to the right. Sometimes they feel they are in Mexico, just visiting our ofrendas and our altars in the city, and the food that some restaurants do around it. It's amazing. So that's why I believe Longmont has contributed a lot to keep this tradition from the immigrants that come from Mexico and Latin America here to Colorado.
And when we began our interview, when we were setting up, you had your mask on over your beautiful sugar skull makeup. But how are you going to keep us safe during COVID when people come and visit the beautiful altars and see the display?
So we do have an exhibit that people can come and visit. We maintain no more than 24 people in our galleries at a time. So in terms of social distancing and mask wearing, it's a very safe visit. And then additionally, we typically have, a huge festival with 6,000 people.
Right.
And of course, this year, because of COVID, we can't do any festivals like that. So we have a whole host of really exciting virtual programs and also web-based content for people to engage with from a distance. So for instance, I'll lead live school tours with the phone, coming around the gallery, talking about what the exhibit looks like and what we've got going on. We have a website where every week we're rolling out different educational content about Day of the Dead. So it really delves into the history, the background, the traditions, where Day of the Dead came from, how it came to be. And then every week there's a different sort of thematic topic.
Oh, that is fantastic. Well, Berenice, Anne, thank you so much for being here. Longmont sounds like a beautiful place to celebrate Dia de los Muertos. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Take a day trip to the largest Dia de los Muertos celebration in Colorado. Visit the Longmont Museum's Dia de los Muertos exhibition. You can also participate in the virtual celebration. Learn more online at longmontdayofthedead.com, or you can visit their Spanish website, longmontdiadelosmuertos.com.